My business school journey really begins in the application process. I came to business school from a career in the Army, and as I was applying, I was getting a lot of push to go into executive programs. And really the tagline that came out with that was, hey, we will build your leadership skills so you can advance in your current career, which was the wrong marketing approach to come at for me, given the fact that I was a career changer. I really wanted to understand the mechanics of business and commerce in a way that I did not have an appreciation of. So that was an ideal fit for Tepper, where they had this analytical depth and this strong reputation, so I decided to come here as a full-time student. And just like any other new school experience, my wife took a picture of me with my backpack as I walked off to the first day of class. Got to class, and our first day of base camp, we go through a math refresher, and I was struck with a little bit of awe and trepidation looking at what was going on. Apparently the Greeks had added a few letters to their alphabet since the last time I'd taken a math class. To understand that moment of trepidation is to kind of take a look back at where I came from. The Army is a competitive place, and my undergraduate degree was at West Point, and this is the kind of place where they sit you down on the first day and tell you to look to your left, look to your right, and say that in 4 years, one of the three of you won't be there. And looking back now, it was very much reflected in the rest of my Army career, where you compete, and if you do well enough, you advance. If not, they push you off to the side. But what I found through my time here is that by being genuinely interested and showing what you didn't know and asking questions and seeking help, you could really gain a lot more. You could learn a lot more. Whether it's in interactions with your classmates, whether it's in interactions with the staff and faculty in and out of class, what you're going to find is a place where, while it's still very competitive, you have people who are invested in you and people who are going to go the extra mile to help you out. Emboldened with that, I became the guy who asked questions because I wasn't afraid to say, well, I don't know. Through my 2 years at Tepper and the growth and learning that I experienced here, I began to reflect back on my earlier professional career and my earlier education, and realized that there were times that I did really well and times that I did less well, and a lot of that depended on the environment I was in. Whenever I felt in a position where I was competing and had to focus on being better than those around me, I found that I was at my worst. What I found is that I excelled at, and I was at the top of my game, is when I was contributing to that community. And I think that's a pretty simple lesson, but one that really comes from the experience. And while the business world and business schools are inherently competitive, at a certain point, it's in someone else's hands, and there's an irreducible uncertainty that goes along with that. You can't help that, and you shouldn't obsess about that too much. Where you can control the environment, where you can make a distinctive determination, is in how you are working with others. And I found in my time in the Army and my time at Tepper, when I was more invested in other people's success than my own, I was the most successful. We started off a little bit about my background as with a leadership experience, and some of my classmates asked me why I was participating in Tepper's Accelerate Leadership Certification Program, because they didn't think I needed it. And I had two answers. For one, hey, it's free. This is part of the program. This is an asset that you can have to really improve your skill sets. And even though I came in with a different background than many of them, I still saw opportunities to take an introspective look at myself and improve my skill sets. And the other part too is the day you decide you don't need any more leadership development is the day you stop being a leader. And to me, this experience here has shown that you need to continue to develop that, and develop it in a very positive manner. And I think that the Tepper experience has been a very significant next step in my career progression path as I move on from my Army career into a business career.